Hi, I'm Angela from Healthy Hearties and Clinical Exercise. My mission as a cardiac nurse and exercise coach is to help as many people around the world as possible to feel fitter, healthier and more confident when they exercise, even though they have a heart condition. So today's video series is all about exercises to avoid when you have a heart condition. So I'm going to keep it nice and quick, nice and simple. So there's always a little bit of concern when you're returning to exercise about what exercises should you be doing, should you avoid. Obviously you always want to check with your doctor to see if there's anything specific to you that they recommend you avoid. Check with your physio before you leave the hospital, and obviously make sure that it is safe for you to do exercise. So these ideas are just a guide, but this is the general guide of exercises to avoid. So when you have a heart condition, obviously the heart is having to work a little bit harder, and it depends on what sort of heart condition you have. But some of you may have dysfunction, some of you may have high blood pressure, so some of you may have low blood pressure, heart failure, or you might be post-op. So the key thing is that we want to keep things nice and safe. We want to keep your blood pressure nice and steady and avoid fluctuations in your blood pressure. And we want to obviously make sure you feel good and not put that heart under any extra strain. So number one exercise to avoid is anything that makes you hold your breath. So for instance, you picture the Olympics, the bodybuilders, or anything where it's super heavy lifting. So a power lifter where they're pushing a super heavy weight as they can. That's one big one to avoid. The reason being is when you hold your breath, you imagine all those big veins popping out of your head. That really increases your blood pressure. So that's a big one to avoid. Next one to avoid is an isometric hold. So that is where any exercise where you're holding a weight and you're using one specific muscle to hold that weight. And what that does by straining again and using one muscle group for a long time under pressure is increasing the blood pressure. So we don't want to do those exercises either. So ones like that might be if you're holding a weight, if you're carrying something that's super heavy and you're carrying it for longer than 5 or 10 seconds. Next exercise to avoid is anything where you're going from the ground to standing quickly. So things like burpees. I'm sure you'll be pleased to hear that I'm telling you to avoid those. But the reason burpees aren't great for someone with a heart condition is because you're changing the blood pressure quite quickly. So the heart is having to adapt to that really quickly. You're going to end up dizzy, you're going to feel rubbish, and you're not going to want to do exercise. So avoid burpees or anything else where you're going from the ground to standing quickly. It's okay to do floor exercises, so that's safe. But try to do them at the end of your exercise session so that you're not having to get up and down all of the time. The other exercises to avoid is anything where you're pushing outside of your comfort zone, where you're pushing so hard that you're exhausted at the end. So things like the 100-meter final and the Olympics, where you're pushing to your extreme, the very fastest you can go. You don't need to be doing that. So I would avoid pushing to your 100% maximum. And the last thing to avoid is to exercise to exhaustion. So imagine your body like a fuel tank. At the start of the day, everyone's got a slightly different level of energy. But imagine that your tank is full at the beginning of the day, and at the end of the day, we still need some energy to be able to brush our teeth and climb into bed. So at the beginning of the day, you need to do your normal everyday tasks. You want to fit in some exercise, and you need to be able to cook dinner, eat it, and go to bed and brush your teeth. So we kind of need to budget our fuel accordingly throughout the day. So if you're performing exercise where you're completely wiped out afterwards, that's not going to leave us with enough energy to do the rest of our activities we need for the day. So always leave a little bit of fuel in the tank at the end of your exercise sessions. If you walk away thinking, oh, I could have done a bit more, then that is brilliant, because next time you can add a little bit, maybe a minute or two extra, or maybe an extra couple of squats, or maybe an extra couple of weight exercises. But that's great, because then you're going to build up gradually. There's no point burning out completely and having absolutely no energy at the end, and then you won't be able to perform your everyday activities. So I hope you enjoyed the video today. Let me know any questions in the comments, and I will see you soon at Healthy Hearties. Bye!